Mm. I think I got some hazelnut stuck in my teeth. All right, let's get started. Final Girl. First impressions. I have played this one time. I played it last night. I died. I did not use Lori. I used Ryko. And I went up against Hans at Camp Happy Trails. And I didn't make it, guys. I did not make it. It was not successful for me. I thought I did okay for my first go around, but I just did not approach it as tactically as maybe I should have. A couple times when I probably should have run away, searched, found some items, healed, because I did a decent job of getting some of the survivors out of there and upgrading to like my ultimate ability. But I just wasn't as smart as I could have been. So poor Ryko did not make it. She died. Lori never even had a chance because I didn't play as her. But first impressions of Final Girl. Timestamp. What is it? Final Girl is a solo only. And I say that knowing that I have talked about games that I say are kind of solo only, but they are not. Other people can play. This is a solo only game from Van Ryder Games. It is designed with a lot of maybe the mechanics or the ideas that were presented and established by Hostage Negotiator. And they reworked it, rethemed it, reskinned it, brainstormed, devised, improved, and came up with just a new system that works from the predecessor, but is, better, more streamlined. And it's got a much more appealing theme to me, which is the final girl in the horror movie trope and her attempt to survive against, insurmountable odds and dangerous enemies. So the designers, directed by Evan Derrick and director of photography Tyler Johnson. Well, I guess that means that the art is from Johnson. But I thought that AJ was like the main designer for it. I'm gonna look this up. Okay, core game design. They made these into like VHS or like movie portfolio boxes, and so they have a little bit of like movie styling in terms of of what it says. So the producers or the core game design goes down to AJ Porfirio, from who's one of the top people at Van Ryder Games, and then Evan Derrick, and then the illustration of the game goes down to Tyler Johnson, Vladislava Ladkova, Tumo Mir, and Roland McDonald. And then the second unit directors of photography is Evan Derrick and Scott Beavers. They did the graphic design. And then the development of the game are AJ Porfirio and Evan Derrick. Sorry for slipping it up there. They did it as if it was a movie, and therefore I don't know how to speak. So this is the core box, and this is one of the volumes or movie experiences, feature film boxes that you are able to do. So this is Camp Happy Trails with Hans the Butcher, and you can play as either Ryko or Lori. what it does. What it does is you have a core system of an action card tableau, and they cost time. And every turn you start off with a base amount of time, and the cards that you play cost time. And then when you get done with your action phase and you move to your planning phase, the leftover time that you have not used allows you to purchase action cards from the tableau. And so if you want a high level card, you either need to not do a lot in your action phase, discard cards that you don't want to increase your time, or play cards that give you more time. And so it's this time management, card management game where you are trying to skirt around this, bloody killer who is attempting to kill victims and target you. And you are trying to keep yourself alive while rescuing victims, finding items, and then attacking and confronting this villain, this, murderer from whatever feature film you're working on. The interesting thing about the design of Final Girl is that they have made all of the characters and the locations and the villains all modular or variable. It comes in feature film boxes where you have two characters and a baddie and a location. But once you have these, you can start using that bad, the villain or the monster or the evil person you're trying to kill with different locations, or you can use particular locations with girls that did not originally come in that feature film box. You can mix it up how you want. So the more content you have, the more variability you have. It is not 4 or 5 isolated feature film experiences. It is 4 or 5 isolated feature film experiences that can then be extrapolated, pulled out, and distributed or disseminated into unique experiences with whatever setup you want. So that's what it does. It creates a card-based system where you are trying to keep your minimal health alive while managing the increasing horror, because the killer will get stronger the more victims they kill, and they will become more dangerous, and you will become less effective. You are only able to roll a certain amount of dice pertaining to whatever horror level you're at. So the more horror it is, the fewer dice you will roll. And the more you're able to tamp down or suppress the horror, the better you'll be able to do. So it's very much a momentum game, where the worse things go, the worse it can get. And then the better things go for you, the better it can get. Obviously, you're able to swing the pendulum in either direction with enough planning, luck, or opportunity, but it is also it can be kind of a snowball machine. How it does it mechanically, what is going on here? You've got you've got a card tableau, but that's just really your ability to see it. You're not really building a tableau. You are just using a tableau to select your card management. So it's a card and action management game. You are trying to be as efficient as possible. It is a dice rolling game that is very much core to what this experience is you're rolling dice and you're trying to see how successful you are. 5 and 6 are successful. 3 and 4, you have to sacrifice cards to turn that into a success. And 1 and 2 is a failure. So there are ways to mitigate that. There are ways to re-roll. There are ways to try to, overcome whatever obstacles you face. But it is still very much a dice rolling game, and you have to be okay with that if you're going to enjoy this. If you don't enjoy results in a game based off of some measure of luck, then you're not going to be happy with Final Girl. But that's how it does it. Dice rolling, card management, time or action selection, and then combat in the sense of using combat functions the same way that all other actions do, where you play a card and roll dice and see what happens. That's the core gameplay loop that goes on in Final Girl. Timestamp. Why would you like this game? You would like this game if you are a thematic solo player who does not mind dice rolling and the casualties that you may have as a player from bad dice rolling. If you enjoy rich thematic solo experiences, this is something that you should check out, because it provides that kind of tense, you know, horror movie experience. There are not a lot of like, I feel like, oh, I guess take that back. I feel like there's a decent amount of like R-rated horror movies out there. But I will say that I feel like a lot of horror in board games seems to be directed into the Lovecraftian world, where you have the entire Arkham universe with Fantasy Flight Games and just anything Cthulhu, and you know, I feel like that is a very typical or usual bent for where horror moves in terms of you know board games that I have experienced or been around. And so to see something that is very much in a different direction while retaining its horror roots is satisfying. It's interesting to dive into. I am somebody who gets scared watching horror movies, more so with jump scares. The actual content itself can be chilling and terrifying from a psychological or existential level, but a lot of times it's just the jump scare music that will make me jump. So I don't typically watch horror movies, but I do appreciate them, and I like what's going on here. I like the homage to that trope, and I like the opportunity to play as that final girl and try to win. And I like some of the commentary in the rule book where it discusses, sometimes when you get that last kill on the girl, or like when the monster, thinks monster, when the villain, the murderer, the psychopath of the movie kills the girl, or they think they killed the girl, there's that moment where it's like, no, she survived somehow in a crafty way. Or the same thing where the girl thinks they've finished off, their pursuer, the hunter, and then no, something's happened to where. So there's a mechanic in there that plays with that same trope. There's a lot of stuff going on here where it feels like a decent amount of love and fan service to this world within horror movies, and within the horror genre. And then also it feels like a tight, accessible, fast playing solo game. So I think that's reasons to like it. Timestamp. Why might you not like this game? If you do not like luck-based snowball potential, then you may be frustrated by this. There may be a game where you just are not rolling fives and sixes, which can be brutal. It's almost, you can chalk it up to a loss. Like, it's going to be very hard to win if that continues to be the case. And then also the snowball effect. Like, if you get hurt or affected or damaged in a game, sometimes players like the ability or the time to recover before getting hit again. This is not necessarily that game. If you get hit in this game, if you get struck by the difficulty of what's going on, very often it will continue to spiral that direction. And so, the murderer, whenever they kill victims, will become stronger. And the stronger they get, the easier it is for them to kill victims and to hurt you. And so there is very much a rising threat if you are kind of on your back foot. But on the flip side of that, if you can really get some momentum, then you can start to press and press and press, and then finally defeat the villain. And so that's going to be up in the air. That's going to be something that some people are going to appreciate and some people are going to absolutely hate. If you are the kind of person who likes a game where you plot it out and you are very careful and everything you do is a decision not based off of luck, it's not predicated on chance, but it is just dependent on your own intelligence and your own ability to surmise the right path forward. If you're that kind of person, the unpredictable nature of what this game can do to you would probably be very frustrating. It's not to me, but it could be for you. Final thoughts. I want to keep playing. I want to try this game again. I don't know if I'm going to give Raiko another go or if I'm going to give Lori a chance. It's not really like each girl. I don't know if I'm going to say that, actually. I don't know if that's something I should or should not say. Um, yeah, I'm going to play one of the two of them. I think I'm going to go after Hans again at the Camp Happy Trails and see how I can do. And if whether I win or lose, I think I'm going to try another box after that, try another feature film, and see how that goes, and just see the difference in. I think this is kind of like the basic first thing. There's not any rule modifications based off the location or the killer, but that's what they're called, just the killer. I think I've been trying to come up with that word in my head this whole time. But other boxes, other locations, other killers can have rule modifications, so I'm interested to see how that plays off of the base gameplay. Um, Also, one thing that I greatly appreciate, this core box doesn't do it, it just opens this one way. But these other feature film boxes, it seems like it's a little bit wonky at times, but it's got this system where, one side opens up and it gives you the location, and then the other side of it opens up and it gives you the killer. And these are like the lids to the boxes, and they magnetically snap on, which I like that. I am a fan of that. I am here for that all day. So smart organization. I have backed the second wave already. I bought this at PAX Unplugged, and it's just now I'm able to get it to the table. Just a little over a little, I guess, close to 2 months. Just a little bit shy of 2 months. But I'm able to get it to the table, and I'm excited to keep playing it. I think there's a lot of innovative stuff going on here, and I am excited to jump in. I think that, I'm not going to give it a rating. I'll do that when I do kind of a fuller review after several more plays. But I'm excited about it, and I think it will depend how often I lose versus win. And if I feel like there's a progression, if I feel like I'm getting better at mitigating bad luck and responding to the gameplay mechanics, if I feel like I'm improving and that there's the opportunity to win, and I feel like that tension continuously, I think I'm going to like it. If I feel like I lose 10 times out of 10, it will start to deflate my interest with the game. But as of right now, I am excited at what I'm experiencing. So there we go. Final girl. Final thoughts. Final girl. Final timestamp. Timestamp. Final. Finale. Adieu.